Okay, I am back with another video. If you're new to the channel, and many of you are, I am Wolfgang, and this is my channel about post-work life, the in-between, after working and before actually being old. I've been amazingly busy. I can't believe how long it's been since I've posted something. Today's topic, top 10 opportunities that are unique to not working. Today is a bit different. I'm coming to you from my office, what was my office for the last 5 years, and now is an extra bedroom. I'm not riding my bicycle around Boston. I've been doing a great deal of that, but I thought today I'd actually speak from some notes so I can think of 10 things to speak about and include a couple graphics here on the green screen behind me. I hope you enjoy this format. Let me know in the comments. I gotta say before I go any further, I am sure there are a lot of great tributes out there to Ozzy Osbourne that will do him more justice than I can, but I just couldn't go any further without sharing for a minute here a few reflections. His music meant a great deal to me. I grew up in the 80s and 90s and listened to Black Sabbath quite a bit. And then, of course, his solo albums as they came out when I was in college. And I was remembering when I heard the news this week about his passing that it'd been many, many years since I'd actually listened to any of that music. And it was 2 years ago. My wife and I were living in Italy for about 6 weeks. And for a few of those weeks, we were in Florence. And we decided one day, we had a nice little apartment downtown in the old area. It's fair to say we are part of the problem in terms of the number of people who are touristing these locations. Nonetheless, we did enjoy it quite a bit. Anyway, so we decided to take a morning adventure before work and go to the Uffizi. Just by luck, I happened to have Paranoid cached on my phone. So I walked around for maybe 3 or 4 hours listening to that album on a loop, and it was just awesome. And that's my most recent memory of listening to that music. And it was really something. It just kind of matched the vibe of the Uffizi Museum and what it's about, and what songs on there just really resonated, and it all brings back memories of my early adulthood. First, upside of not working. I thought I'd start with something very obvious: free time. I was a hard worker, like a lot of people through my career, 50, 60 hours a week, very consistently. Not working gives you all kinds of time, and it's amazing. I'm able to do things that are not time efficient. I'm able to enjoy quiet moments. I have coffee every morning. And as you've seen in the other videos here, do a lot of bicycling and hiking, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. I will say one of the things that everybody warns new retirees about is boredom, that you're not going to have enough to do. This has not been my problem, even though I've had a good deal of free time. I find I'm always busy, the days go by quickly, and I have a long list of to-do items that I'm pecking away at. I'm not being diligent, I'm not working hard, I'm enjoying the free time. I am not bored. Just a few highlights. In March, I think that was before I posted the other videos, I did take a 10-day trip with my son down to Panama, and it was awesome. In July here, more recently, I took a 4-day trip down to New York City on the train to visit my daughter. Again, lots of long bike rides. We're going to talk about these in a second. I've also spent some time making some significant financial decisions. I put together a projected spending envelope. I'm using a tool called TPAW. I looked at a lot of different tools. This is free, TPAW. It's called Total Portfolio Allocation and Withdrawal. There's a lot of math behind the tool. After investigating a few, they all kind of arrive at more or less the same envelope, but I like the way this one works, so I think I'm going to use it going forward. With that spending envelope then, bottom up, I put together a budget. My son turned me on to tool called YNAB, WYNAB. You need a budget. And we've been using that for several months now, and I refined that recently. The other more recent activity that I've been using my free time for is a deep dive on asset allocation, and specifically the question of tax favored allocation. If you've been saving, if you're planning to quit working early, you probably have three different categories of savings. I'm not talking about the asset allocation between stocks and bonds, but the asset allocation across tax treatment. So you have Roth IRAs and regular IRAs and taxable accounts, probably all three. And the question is, how do you then place your savings across these three to enjoy tax arbitrage and tax diversification? And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But number one, we're only on number one. I'll go faster on some of these, but I have a lot of time and I feel like I'm enjoying it. Number two, great thing about not working. Some people get a little window into this if they work off hours. During the week, there are great things that aren't clogged up with people. You can drive down to the beach and you can park and you can walk on the beach and nobody's there. And you're not waiting in line for a parking spot. You can go again to a bike path and always get parking right at a good spot, and then take your bike out of the car and go for a ride. On biking trails or on beaches or on hiking trails, you'll often be alone in the middle of the week. So no crowds during the week. I've gone grocery shopping with my wife during the week. It's an activity, I guess, and you don't have to stand in line to check out your stuff. There are fewer lines open, but there are fewer people in line. It's quite nice. Number three, flexibility, very few appointments, and awesome no alarm clock. My routine was to get up early, and I was not done sleeping when the alarm went off. And it's very nice now not to have an alarm. I find I get up between 7 and 7:30, and I just wake up after I'm done sleeping, and it feels good. And any given day, you can do whatever you want. I plan a couple days. I've got a loose agenda, things I want to do, but I can do whatever I want. So I counted this one twice. Number four is spontaneity, a kind of flexibility. You can grab the moment. I'm very weather driven. When it's a beautiful day, I am outside. When it's hot and humid like today, I decided to make a video. This is one of the reasons I've been slow on videos. It's been a nice summer here, and I'm outside a lot, and so maybe when it's dreary, I'll have more time to post these. Number five. Okay, now a couple of financial ones. Number five here, we're going to talk about Roth conversions. Now, the unique opportunity in here is that you can, there are ways you can manipulate your income to be lower. And in any case, if you're not working and you're not making money, you're going to have lower income. And this opens a chance to take advantage of tax shelters that the current tax law affords you. And it does so in a way that's extra advantageous when it comes to subsequent Medicare charges. There are these fees called IRMA, Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. And if you make more money, you pay more for Medicare. And so Roth conversions actually count on this. And the look back is 2 years. So if you do big Roth conversions right before you go into Medicare, you're actually going to end up paying more for Medicare. So the opportunity, again, by not working and not earning any money now, I can do Roth conversions and fill up the low tax brackets and not suffer any increased fees later on. There are a couple different advantages to this approach. The other one, earlier is better, of course, with Roth conversions. The tax sheltered money, then I'll pay the taxes now, never pay again. And using traditional withdrawal, that money will come out in many years, toward the end of my life, the end of my retirement. So that tax protected money will have more time to grow. The earlier you can do the conversions, the more time you have for that money to grow. So that's number five, Roth conversions. Number six, enjoying health. I did a pretty good job of staying fit, especially through my 40s. The pandemic did set me back a bit in terms of my weight. I gained a lot of weight during the pandemic, but I stayed fit and I'm enjoying exercise. But there are two big differences now. I think my exercise is much less regimented. Instead of waking up with the alarm clock at 5:30 or 6 and heading right into the gym, I tend to find some opportunity during the day to get outside and do something that I'm really enjoying. And I think it's unique. In quitting work earlier, I have the time, and I'm lucky that I overall have working arms and legs and good health. And I'm in a nice place here in New England where there are beautiful mountains, and Boston has done a great job of building a variety of biking trails where you can go out and be away from traffic and enjoy long rides. Recently, I did the longest bike ride of my life, and that was kind of fun. It was just enjoyable. So by not working, I think there are two big changes in my sort of enjoyment of myself. One is I'm less regimented and more informal, but maybe paradoxically, on the other hand, there's an opportunity to be much more consistent. I'm exercising, believe it or not, an hour every single day. Every single day I make an hour time. And when work got in the way, work travel got in the way, different than leisure travel, work commitments got in the way, and I had to be extremely disciplined about it, and I still couldn't exercise every day like I am now, 7 days a week. In fact, I think I'm about to hit 95 days in a row on my watch, which will beat my earlier record of 95 days in a row set at the beginning of the year. Never managed to be that consistent when I was working. I did pretty well, but nothing like that. Okay, so really, number 6, again, I'm just going to emphasize enjoying your health. I don't expect I'll be healthier in the future than I am today. So by not working, I can really take time to be outside. Number 7, and this may surprise you, cheap health insurance. So in between, if you're younger than 65, and like most people, you're probably accustomed to paying a few $100s a paycheck for your health care, subsidized by your employer. We can all expect then to pay some amount of money for Medicare and the different augmented insurance that goes along with it. So I'm here to say that yes, of course, everybody's right. Healthcare in the United States is relatively expensive, but there are avenues if you're not working and you're below 65 that you can use to pay much less than you might expect for health insurance. And principally it's through subsidies. So if you can manage to manipulate your income so that, and I'll talk just briefly about how to do this, so that you earn less than $88,000 as a married couple, you'll receive some amount of subsidies from the state level exchanges in most states. And that means you'll again only pay a few $100s. And it's a good deal. It's obviously subsidized by taxpayers, so presumably during your working years you paid a lot of taxes, and I think in the future again we're probably going to pay more taxes. But in the meantime, you can get health insurance from the ACA exchanges if your income is lower than $88,000 for a married couple, with pretty significant subsidies, and they make a big difference. So health insurance is expensive, but it may not be as expensive as you think it might be. A similar theme, if you're not working, you're probably going to have lower income. I certainly do. And there's an opportunity there, the glass half full. Lower income means, of course, lower taxes. Now, you never want to have the tail wag the dog, right? Lower taxes are great, but if you need more money, then keep working. You need the money. You can't really cut taxes and as a way to double your income. That doesn't work. But it is kind of nice having paid the required amount over the years as I've earned money and set it aside, to find that my own projections of future taxes were probably pessimistic, at least in the short run. We'll see what the long term offers. So I talked a minute ago about the opportunity to convert to Roth IRAs. You certainly can do that. That's a good chance to lock in today's relatively low rates. There are a couple of other things though that you can look into that, depending on your situation, can be really impactful. The first is the difference between capital gains and income tax. In your taxable account, of course, we do pay capital gains, but just to give you an idea of how low capital gains are in the United States right now, if your only income is capital gains, a married couple with no other income can have up to $128,000 in income and pay zero tax on it. And that's income. So remember, of course, that when you buy an investment, when you buy a ETF or other stock, that basis, what you put in, you get back out without paying tax. That's your money going in and your money going out. You only pay tax on the gain. And again, you can have $128,000 in gains without triggering capital gains tax if that's the only one you have. And that might mean if you have a low basis, maybe, or you might be able to pull out $200,000 or $300,000 in stock that you've accumulated recently, and still stay under the $128,000. And that can let you do something like basically, if you're not spending all that money, you can reinvest it and reset the basis to a higher level. So again, all of this is dependent upon your particular situation, but there are opportunities here that stem from the current taxes, and all of this, of course, counts on the idea that you're spending at a pretty, let's say, a low level, lower than maybe your means would support. The other topic here, and I'll put a link in the video description to this. I personally had a decision to make about allocation of assets across, again, taxable and tax-free accounts, and I think it's up to about 24, 25 pages now of discussion on this topic in the Boglehead forums, and a very compelling post that argued for a simplified approach and made a strong case that tax-preferred placement of assets doesn't really make a big difference. And it is a compelling case, and I think the person that started the thread is right in many cases, that the additional complexity and risk of allocating your stock investments, which would be taxed under capital gains, in a taxable account, and then doing the flip side in your IRAs and putting all of your bonds in the IRA. This is a traditional kind of allocation, and like I said, if you do this, then you might pay very little in capital gains, but you do take on a little bit of risk when you do this, and this is a key point, you also take on a good deal of complexity, because then you have to manage multiple investments and constant rebalancing year after year. So what are we talking about then? I participated at the end of this thread and added my own little bit of analysis. The discussion is about simplicity and risk and the potential opportunity for savings. The details matter, and I came to my own conclusion, which is in that thread, that in our particular situation, it is worth it. The complexity and risk of asset allocation by tax category does pay off in a way that I thought was worth it, but your mileage may vary. And in any case, it's a unique opportunity that can come about if you have saved aggressively and have money in these different forms of taxable accounts. So something to look into. It's entertaining. So again, the overall theme here, by not working, you don't make as much money, and of course that's a bummer in some ways, but the silver lining is if you don't pay that much money, if you don't make that much money, you're not going to pay that much in taxes. This will be a quick one. It's a big topic though. What can you do if you retire early? Well, you have time for self-discovery and reinvention. When I shared the news that I was not going to work any further for money with my kids, my son, he's a smart guy, had the observation that by not working, I had the opportunity to do things that just I wanted to do, that nobody else might care about, and certainly that other people wouldn't pay me to do. So having spent 30 years honing skills and spending time making contributions that other people put value on, other people thought they were worthwhile, so much so that they gave me money to do these things. Nobody's giving me any money anymore, and so I can do whatever I want. And this is the beginning of this process for me. And I think by quitting early, I've got more time to apply myself to it. What will I be like if I'm not the person I was, dedicated to working very hard in certain directions to achieve things? I don't have to achieve anything. It's a different way of thinking. Work takes up not just time. We've talked about that a bit today. It also takes up mental capacity. I found that after my 50, 60, 70 hours, sometimes more, dedicated to working, I had the opportunity to do things that were sometimes intellectually challenging, but always draining. I was done, man. I would, at the end of the day, watch TV and just veg out, and I would look at Slack and email on my phone, but I was cooked. I had no room in my mental capacity for other interests. Well, when the kids were at home, I did, of course, do everything I could to carve time to pay attention to them at all points, but I was overloaded. And not working now, I find I can think about all kinds of stuff. I've not read as many books as I'd like so far. I think I've only read like 4 books, but I can read. I will read. I can consider the world in a different way. I can apply my thoughts. Again, it doesn't have to be productive. It can just be world history. I don't know. But I am finding already that I have the ability to think more, not just because of the time, but also this sort of incredible load, cognitive load that work implies is gone. And yeah, so I will admit, after having said this, that I am enjoying a little bit of thinking less for the moment. Anyway, so a couple final thoughts and then a little news update. So I think one thing is, and forgive me, I guess I'm going to be a little opinionated with these 3 points I want to make, but if this stuff is interesting, if you're not yet retired and you're thinking about what kinds of opportunities might present themselves, I first want to say, at least in my 2 months so far, there are real opportunities to live differently, and it does feel pretty cool, and I'm excited about it. I've thought about it for a long time, and now here I am. So having taken this step, I wanted to say there are 3 things I think that I did that set up these opportunities, and I want to share them with you and put myself on record, and maybe in a couple of years we can come back and see whether I took advantage of these opportunities and whether it worked out, and whether I still feel that the earlier parts of my life set me up for this next period appropriately. So what are those 3 things I think that might be constructive to consider, if I can, with some humility, offer some advice? The first one is to do what's needed to stay healthy and in body and in mind. And I mean diet and exercise, and also some amount of self-care. So I could have done better at this last one. I think I exhausted myself more than I should have mentally, but I did okay, and on the exercise and more or less on the eating front. So take care of yourself, mind and body, and I think that will go a long way to setting up a good retirement. The second one, these are not novel, by the way, I'm just adding my 2 cents having experienced them. The second one is to save money. No kidding. I think you can do it. I think everybody can do it. Regardless of income level, I think you can set aside a little bit of money. We did from a very early stage when we were not making much and had student loans, and even after my wife stopped working to stay at home and we fell back to a single income. You just have to live below your means. You have to reset your expectations and save money. Every bonus goes into the long-term savings, all of it. Make sure that you are establishing a framework so that week over week, month over month, you're spending less than you're making. And then try to avoid the common things like lifestyle creep. As your income hopefully over time goes up, squirrel it away. It's definitely possible, with conviction. And if you disagree, let's talk more. Challenge me in the comments. I think at just about every income level in the United States, it's not easy, but it is possible to save, and I highly encourage savings. It is empowering, just incredibly empowering. So number one, do whatever you can to stay healthy, mind and body. Number two, save up your assets, save money. And number three, and I mean this with all seriousness, be lucky. I don't pretend here that anything I'm saying is a kind of virtue. I've been enormously lucky, and I recognize that it's all, at the end of the day, just a matter of luck. Why was I able to do these things? Why are other people able to, and some aren't? It's luck. And so I'm a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It does take luck to have a good outcome that you're happy with. It also takes the luck of your own perspective. If you perceive your situation as being negative and bad, it will be. Your perception controls it. And again, I want to be careful not to be misunderstood, but you can be glass half full and glass half empty, and I tend to be glass half empty, I have to admit. So I'm kind of talking to myself here a little bit, but you want to be lucky enough to have a optimistic outlook, and then you want to be lucky enough to objectively benefit from some of the good things the world has to offer. So with whatever luck you have, try and make good decisions. Last update for the day. I hope you've enjoyed the pictures I've been putting behind me here. A bit of news. So we, in 2023, spent about 5 weeks in Portugal, and mostly in Lisbon. We took a weekend down in Albufeira, in the Algarve, and we had a wonderful time. Really enjoyed it. It reminded us of, my wife and I met when we lived in San Francisco, and it's not a unique observation. Lisbon is kind of like San Francisco if you look at it in a certain particular light. We also took another vacation down in Tavira, and we're going to do it again. This trip is a little different. You cannot step in the same river twice. Portugal might be a little bit different now, and we're different now. Two big differences. The first is I won't be working. The last trip was a bit of digital nomad time that worked out quite nicely. The second piece is that we're staying away from home longer than we ever have before. We haven't quite got the weeks right, but it's going to be something like 10 or 11 weeks away in Portugal, and that will be the longest trip we've ever taken. So stay tuned. I hope to share some updates and videos as we approach that. We're leaving in October, very beginning of October, and we'll stay through the end of the year. So starting to plan that, getting really excited about it. And so if that's of interest, hit like if you like this content, and then subscribe if you want updates as we head over for almost 3 months in Portugal. And if anything I said you disagree with, feel free to argue with me. I love a good discussion. And I will post that link to the Boglehead discussion. That's a deep dive. You can go, that thread is 30 pages, and there are thousands of them. People think really hard about this stuff. If that topic or the others are of interest and you want more particulars, I'm happy to go into it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time.